Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from Arni's. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, mine seems to get less and less.
Welcome to Arni's birthday Zoom, and our very special guest today, Stephanie White, and her celebrating her birthday. We get to talk to her on her birthday. What a great thing that is. She needs no introduction to Purdue fans as a Hall of Fame member, national champion, National Player of the Year. It goes on and on, but birthdays are a special day, and for a number of reasons. Sometimes good time to reflect on what's gone on. But I always ask in the front end is what were your traditions in your family growing up? I would imagine at this time of the summer, you were probably, at least in your junior high and high school days, busy with basketball and other sports. But what are some family traditions that were in your family when you celebrated that birthday on June the 20th?
It's you're absolutely right in terms of I was always playing. We always had games, whether it was baseball games, softball games, basketball games. Growing up, I was actually talking with my grandfather last night, and he's like, well, what are you going to do on your birthday? I was like, well, Landon has 2 basketball games, so we're going to be at basketball games. That's what we're going to be doing. It's not any different than it was when I was a kid. We had family birthday months that we celebrated, just to be able to kind of get everyone in the month whenever we had an opportunity to do that. But some of my best birthday memories were playing. And then when I got to college and into coaching, it was camp. So you're sort of celebrating your birthday with all of these kids and working camp. And Kelly Camara and I share a birthday,
right?
So I hit her up, and of course they're in camp as well. So it's kind of going to be just business as usual in terms of sports and athletics, and enjoying it that way.
I had thought about doing a 3-way birthday. I said, but I couldn't let her steal your thunder, so I wasn't going to do it. However, next year we'll get
she'll have to get her
on the 20th. But of course, the pretty great Kelly Camara, also a key part of the national championship team in 1999. All right, you are busy. You've got 3 boys, and talk a little bit about that in terms of their ages and what you got. One already playing hoops already, so that's exciting as well.
Yeah. I have a 10-year-old and 8-year-old twins, and then in a blended family, I have a 9-year-old as well. So they are all in everything. Basketball, baseball, soccer, flag football, sort of everything. And it's an all year round thing. Back in the day when I used to play, we had seasons. They don't have seasons anymore. It's pretty much all the time. So basketball tonight, baseball tomorrow, Wednesday's off, baseball again on Thursday, and then a little mini vacation. So it'll be fun to get away and kind of relax for a little bit.
And going back to your own birthdays, is there a special birthday meal? Do you go to dinner? Does somebody? I mean, what's a treat for Stephanie White on her birthday, or is it something else from that standpoint?
Typically, just because of time and travel, it's usually a birthday meal out. It would be nice. I think in a perfect world, it would just kind of be chilling at home. We travel so much with work and sports and everything else. That in a perfect world, it'd be chilling at home and just having a little bit of downtime. But we will celebrate on Wednesday because of our sports, and we'll go out to dinner and have some fun. And it's usually now it's what do the kids want to do? Kids are into hibachi, so we'll do hibachi. We'll have some fun and go from there.
All right. You look at you obviously had a role as a college basketball analyst. You've coached. I always wonder about the Stephanie Whites. You do such a great job, and the Steve Lavins of the world. Why would you ever want to get back into coaching? Because this analyst thing is really a good gig. I know it's being around people is part of your life, but give me a good answer for that. Why do you want to do that if that opportunity presents itself down the road for you?
That's tough. I've had a lot of conversations with former coaches who are analysts now, or in administration now, or executives now, and I always ask, there's always this pull when you start talking basketball, when you start talking X's and O's, when you're speaking with coaches, when you're in the gym. there's always this pull. It's like, oh, I want to be coaching. And then
Yeah.
you're coaching. And in the world that we see now, it's like, why would I want to be coaching? Why would I want to go through this and put myself through this, every day? I think it's just something that's in our competitive spirit, in our DNA to want to work the chess match, to want to put pieces together, to want to be on the floor, to want to compete. There's just something about that, day in and day out. And as an analyst, I find joy in being back in the gym now. Certainly we continue to do some from home, and that's sort of the realities of the world we're living in right now. But being in the gym and talking basketball and those kinds of things fill my cup, so to speak. But it is a true evaluation process now, certainly knowing what's going on in the world of college basketball, and some of those same things filtering up into the pros.
As most coaches and people around college athletics talk about, it's kind of been a tsunami of change, without question. You throw COVID in there, you throw name, image, and likeness, you throw transfer portal in there, which also begs the question, why do you want to coach again? But where does this go? I mean, name, image, and likeness, you'd have done well in your time in West Lafayette had you had some of those opportunities. But I think most around it view that as a good thing, but maybe pay for play not. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but tell me about what, as you reflect on that, how do you see that, and when will this settle down? And hopefully by next Tuesday, is your answer. So,
right. Yeah. I don't think that's happening.
No,
but
no.
It's just so complex, right? I think that there's name, image, and likeness, and being able to make some money off of your name I think it's important. But I think that there are layers and boundaries that we can't control when it comes to that. And how does it not lend to pay for play? I don't know that you can, once you opened up Pandora's box, I don't know how you bring it back, and I don't know how you regulate. I don't think the answer is just leave it up to the universities or leave it up to the conferences. I don't think that's the answer. I don't really have an answer, but I do know that from a coaching perspective, when you're dealing with a world in which NIL comes into play, the transfers are out of control. Dealing with, yes, coaches can leave too, but they pay for that. There's a financial implication. There are buyouts. Do we get rid of scholarships in general? If people are going to be making money, do they pay for their own school? I think that all these are questions that we have to be able to try to find answers to. I don't know what the right one is. I do know that it becomes a much more complex issue when you're coaching. Now, how do you coach players who on a day, and look, I was a college athlete and I was an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. Every day I felt differently. If I would have based my decisions off of my emotions, who knows how many schools I would have played at? Who knows how many days? Every day I hated my coach or going to practice, and then there were days where I loved it and I loved them and I love, it's just, being able to, what lessons are we teaching, young people in terms of resilience, in terms of working with people? Like, look, we work with people every day that we wouldn't necessarily be friends with, right? Or get along with, outside of work, but we have to find ways to be a team player. You have to find ways to push through adversity. You have to find ways to step up in situations that might not always be ideal. And then we have to, as we look back and you talk about reflecting, you look back and think, wow, that really wasn't that big a deal at the time. And wow, I didn't give, so-and-so the benefit of the doubt. It's just when we're young, and when we make decisions based off of emotion, we would be changing every day. So I think it's a very difficult time to be a college coach. I don't think it's any surprise that we see people retiring that we wouldn't think would retire. Or, people who have had long careers, certainly, yes, it's like they don't have to deal with this. But good coaches that still have a lot left to give, that are just burned out, quite frankly, that just don't want to have to deal with the realities of everything that's going on in college athletics right now.
Yeah, no question. It's hard. I shudder to think how the history of Purdue sports would have changed had Steph White in March of 1996. I mean, you had and when Nell Fortner leaves the next year, I mean, all those kinds of things. If that carrot had, if the barriers had been easier, gosh only knows, what would happen in that situation. And as they say, it didn't, and the rest is history from a Purdue standpoint. All right, now you're not an old person, but you do have you've gathered knowledge and wisdom, and you've let us know some of that. But again, today's a day for reflection on things that you've done well in your life, which is many, and things that you've been challenged by. When you reflect on a day like today, what are some of the things that you really think about? You've obviously got an important family and all of that, but what are some of the things that you say, boy, this is a standard I'm living by, or this is a truism I'm working on? How do you view that?
Yeah, there are a lot. Certainly, I think about what we've been through over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I think about COVID, social justice, all of these things. And it's given me a new perspective, a perspective of really valuing and understanding what's important and making that a priority. It's so much of life when you're striving for the next level, or striving for wins, or striving for championships, or striving for perfection, as much of us perfectionists do. You're always thinking about the next thing, and you're always grinding and thinking, how can I get better? And so we spend so much time on our craft that sometimes we don't think about the people that are around us. We don't think about our village. We do, but we're not fully present all the time. Yeah. And I think over the last couple of years, that's been something that that's hit home for me. Like, okay, I've put not all, but a lot of my mind, body, and spirit into basketball and coaching, and being the best I could be in my profession. And then when the world stops, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to miss birthdays, and we're going to miss holidays, and we're going to miss all of these things because of what we do. There's no question about it that we sacrifice that. But now, once COVID hit, it was like, okay, we need to reevaluate. Yeah. And I think that's the one benefit I'm grateful for, is just reevaluate what's important, reevaluate my presence, reevaluate, making sure every day that my feet are where they are. We say that a lot as coaches, but we don't always live it. Yeah. And being able to live that, I think has just, it's been important. It's been an important time to reflect on that. I am loving the time that I have to take my kids to school, to pick them up, to go to practices, to coach them, to do all of these things that I really never had time to do before. I'm loving that, and I'm enjoying that. I had, not this summer, but the summer before, the first summer that I've had free since I was 10 years old. Yeah. Sure. To be able to enjoy time and enjoy the moment and not think about the next thing. So that's been important. I think, gratitude for everything that I've been able to do because of this sport. We take it for granted oftentimes, and gratitude for the people that I've been able to meet and along the way, where the journey has taken me. For the successes, for the failures, for the humility, and for the fire that still burns in me to continue to try to be better, but with a new perspective. So, I think when I reflect, those are the most important things at this point in my life, and the things that I'm thankful for.
Well said. Well said. For me, I could go on another 20 minutes. You don't have 20 minutes to do this. And we appreciate so much your time and sharing a little part of your day, because this is a special day for you and your family. But best to you always. We always appreciate how gracious you've been to Gold and Black over the years. And you always impart some wisdom, which we appreciate as well. So have a great rest of your day, Steph. And thanks again for taking the time to join us.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it.